What is JavaScript? JavaScript is a high-level scripting language that runs in web browsers to make web pages interactive. It can also run on servers using environments like Node.js, making it both a client-side and server-side language. JavaScript code is executed by the browser's JavaScript engine, allowing developers to create dynamic content and control web page behavior. What is ECMAScript and how is it related to JavaScript? ECMAScript is the official specification that defines the core of the JavaScript language. In essence, JavaScript is an implementation of the ECMAScript standard. Updates to JavaScript like ES5, ES6/ES 2015, etc. refer to versions of the ECMA script specification, which browser and engine developers follow to ensure compatibility. How is JavaScript different from Java? Despite the naming similarity, JavaScript and Java are distinct languages designed with different goals. Java is a standalone class-based programming language, statically typed and compiled, whereas JavaScript is a lightweight interpreted scripting language, dynamically typed, that is primarily executed in browsers. Java code needs to be compiled and runs in a virtual machine, while JavaScript is executed as plain text by a browser. In short, Java is write once, run anywhere for large applications, and JavaScript is write once, run in browsers for interactive web content. What are the different data types in JavaScript? JavaScript has primitive data types and object types. The primitive types include number, string, boolean, null, undefined, symbol, and bigint. Everything else, such as arrays, functions, objects, dates, is of type object. Primitives represent single immutable values, e.g. a number or a string literal, while objects are collections of properties. JavaScript is dynamically typed, meaning a variable can hold any type of value, and types are determined at runtime. What is the purpose of the isNaN function? The isNaN function checks whether a value is not a number. It returns true if the given argument is not a valid number or cannot be converted into a number, and false if the value is a number. For example, isNaN hello would return true since hello is not numeric, while isNaN 42 returns false. This function is useful to verify if a result of a computation or type conversion is a real number or the special NaN value. What is variable typing in JavaScript? Variable typing refers to JavaScript's dynamic typing capability. In JavaScript, the type of a variable is not fixed. The same variable can hold a number at one moment and a string later. For example, you can do let x equal 10, x equal 10 without error. This is possible because JavaScript is dynamically typed, meaning type checking is done at runtime and variables do not have a static type. This is also called loose typing. How do you convert a string to an integer in JavaScript? You can convert a string to an integer using the parseInt function or the number constructor. For example, parseInt 42 10 returns the number 42 parsed in base 10. You can also use number 42, which will attempt to convert the entire string into a number, returning nan if the string is not purely numeric. For floating point numbers, use parsefloat. In modern code, number or the unary plus operator, e.g. plus 42, is commonly used for conversion. What is the difference between equals equals and equals equals equals? Is the loose equality operator, while wishikwarki is the strict equality operator. Loose equality equals equals compares two values for equality after performing type conversion if necessary, so 5 equals 5 would be true because the string 5 is converted to number 5. Strict equality, 3 equal signs, compares both value and type, so it returns true only if both operands are of the same type and equal value. Generally, then CA is recommended to avoid unexpected results from type coercion. What does null mean in JavaScript? Null is a special value in JavaScript that represents no value or empty value. It is typically used to indicate the intentional absence of any object value. For example, a variable may be set to null to denote that it currently points to no object. Importantly, Null is one of JavaScript's primitive types. It is loosely associated with objects. The expression type of null returns object, which is widely recognized as a historical quirk. What is an undefined value in JavaScript? In JavaScript, a variable has the value undefined if it has been declared but not assigned a value. For example, let a console.log a undefined. A function that doesn't explicitly return a value also returns undefined by default. Additionally, trying to access a non-existent object property yields undefined. In short, undefined means value is not assigned or missing. It's a primitive type, and it is the default state of uninitialized variables. Is JavaScript case-sensitive? Yes, JavaScript is a case-sensitive language. This means identifiers like variable names, function names, and object property names must be referenced with the exact same casing with which they were declared. For example, a variable named myValue is different from myValue or myValue. The same applies to keywords and function names. Document.getElementById will not work because the correct casing is document.getElementById. Consistent use of case is therefore important in JavaScript coding. What is the difference between undefined and null? Both undefined and null signify an absence of a value, but they are used in different contexts. Undefined means a variable has been declared but not assigned a value, or a property doesn't exist. Null is an explicit assignment to indicate no value, often used to reset or clear a variable. In practice, undefined is typically the default state, e.g., function arguments that weren't provided are undefined, whereas null is set intentionally. They are different. Undefined equals null is true in loose equality, but undefined equals null is false because they are different types. What is nan in JavaScript? How can you check for it? NaN stands for not a number. It is a special numeric value that indicates an undefined or unrepresentable mathematical result. For example, the result of parseInt, ABC, or math.sqrt, 1. Nan is unique in that it is the only value in JavaScript that is not equal to itself, e.g., nan equals nan is false. To check for nan, you should use the number.is.nan method or the global.isNan.function. For example, number.isNanX will reliably tell you if x is nan. Using x is another trick, since only nan is not equal to itself. What is variable hoisting in JavaScript? Hoisting is a mechanism where variable and function declarations are moved to the top of their containing scope during the compile phase before code execution. In practice, this means you can use a function or variable before its declaration in the code. For example, you can call a function declared later in the code because the function declaration is hoisted to the top of the scope. With variables, only the declaration is hoisted, not the assignment. So using a var variable before its assignment will yield undefined. Let and const are also hoisted, but in a different way. They cannot be accessed before declaration due to the temporal dead zone. What is the difference between var, let, and const? These keywords declare variables but differ in scope and mutability. Var is function scoped or global scoped if declared outside a function and can be redeclared or updated. It is hoisted, initialized with undefined. Let is block scoped, limited to the enclosing block, and can be updated but not redeclared in the same scope. It's not usable before declaration, hoisted but in temporal dead zone. Const is also block scoped but is read only. It must be initialized at declaration and cannot be reassigned. In summary, use let for variables that will change, const for constants, and avoid var in modern code unless necessary for legacy reasons. What is an immediately invoked function expression? IIFE. An IIFE, immediately invoked function expression, is a function defined and executed immediately as soon as it's created. It has the form function, jin, code, tin. The first part, function, is a function expression and the trailing invokes it. IFEs are often used to create a new scope and avoid polluting the global namespace. What is a closure in JavaScript? A closure is a feature where an inner function remembers and can access variables from an outer function scope even after the outer function has finished executing. In other words, a function encloses variables from its surrounding scope. For example, if you have a function that returns another function using a local variable, the inner function closes over that variable and retains access to it. What is the this keyword in JavaScript? In JavaScript, this is a keyword that refers to the context in which a function is executed. Its value is determined at call time. In a method call, e.g. obj.method, this refers to the object obj. In a regular function call, not as a property of an object, this defaults to the global object or undefined in strict mode. In event handlers, this refers to the element that received the event. Special cases, the value of this can be changed with .call or .apply, and arrow functions do not have their own. They lexically inherit this from the enclosing scope. So, this is dynamic and depends on how a function is invoked.